Good morning, everybody. My name is Barry Schwartz, and this is the Search Buzz video recap. Today is Friday, April 1st, also known as April Fool's Day, so definitely be careful when you're watching the news. I'm not going to discuss anything that's a joke. Really, not. Really, I'm not joking. No jokes today. Anyway, I hope you have a productive April Fool's Day. A lot of stuff to discuss. Google's product reviews update seems to finally be kicking in. Google's local search update corrects the Vicinity update from December. Google did not confirm that. Google released a highly cited label, a come back later sign, and more information about this result. Mum and BERT are being used more, Search Console news, and so much more. So definitely stay tuned and definitely watch this whole entire thing because there's a lot of stuff going on. And there's no April Fool's jokes, promise you. Also, this episode is sponsored by Bruce Clay. Bruce Clay is one of the founding fathers of the SEO space, doing search marketing optimization since 1996. Bruce Clay is big into SEO training. Check out SEOtraining.com to learn more and check them out at bruceclay.com as well. There's also a busy week. I drove out to visit Greg Finn in Buffalo. His company is Cypress North, all the way up in Buffalo. It's about a 5-6 hour drive. And I was on his Marketing O'Clock channel. It's a great channel. If you want to go ahead and listen to some search news, longer format than this, that's funny. Definitely check them out at Marketing O'Clock across all the different podcast players and also on YouTube. And I also did some recordings for the vlog, so definitely stay tuned to those recordings. Some really great personalities there at the Cypress North. There's a lot of personalities in Buffalo, so I interviewed his employees and a bunch of other people in the area. So definitely take a look at that as well. Subscribe and also check out the Marketing O'Clock channel and subscribe to that. Really fun. It was pretty fun to do, so I hope you enjoy it. Okay, so first up, like I said, the product reviews update. We talked a lot about it this week. First, early in the week, I'm like, it's been 6-7 days now since the product reviews update has launched, and it's not really showing that much change. And I wrote a report about this on March 29th, and it was very interesting. And basically caveat that we're not seeing huge changes yet. And yeah, the yet was important because then a couple days later, we started to notice more volatility in the search results, specifically the product reviews updates. We have charts from lots of SEOs, including Glenn Gabe, Marie Haynes, and Lily Ray. Lily actually said she spotted these changes earlier on. I think Systrix was picking it up earlier than other tools. That being said, the chatter is still fairly light, but the tools are definitely picking up some changes as of yesterday. March 31st, which was yesterday. So if you didn't notice any changes or a lot on product reviews, it seemed to have really kicked in on March 31st or so. So definitely take a look at that and we'll keep you posted along the way. Talking about Google updates, Google local update happened. Google did not confirm this update, but usually Google confirms local updates weeks or even months later. Not sure if anybody asked Danny Sullivan, I should ask him, but basically it seemed like there was some type of update on March 23rd, which according to Joy Hawkins, who's very, very involved in the SEO local space specifically, said it corrected some of the Vicinity changes back with the December update again, which we reported back in December of last year. And Joy named it the Vicinity update because based on how close things were. And she basically said, I'm happy to say that we're seeing corrections to some of the overkill that of the Vicinity update had on businesses that were keyword-rich business names. We were seeing patterns before businesses with keyword-rich names were being filtered out if there were several businesses in the market that had similar names. Thankfully, she said that this seems to have been reversed, which is pretty good, and she showed some charts, so definitely take a look at that. There definitely does seem to be some type of update around local on March 23rd. Google this week, actually yesterday, launched a bunch of new features in the Google search results around making searchers more aware of trusted search results, right before April Fool's actually, which is pretty interesting. One is they released something called a highly cited label. Here's a screenshot of that. And it basically, if they want to promote the articles that get the most amount of, sourced links, so everybody's quoting this article as a source, Google wants to say this article is highly cited. And Google's pretty much using basically their link graph to figure this out. I don't think it's specifically EAT related, but it definitely does seem to be specifically related to who are these articles that are news-oriented articles that are featured in top stories linking to. And that's nice. It's good. Hopefully Google will get that right. We'll see it hopefully out in the wild soon. I think it's launching over the coming weeks in the US English mobile results. Also, Google released a new thing around. Remember, we showed you a thing that says basically Google is testing to say, hey, these search results are changing quickly. So maybe you can't necessarily trust everything you read. Just like on April Fools, you can't really trust everything you read. But when search results are changing rapidly because, I don't know, let's say there's a news breaking topic about some type of, I don't know, event that's happening in the world and you're trying to figure out what's real, what's not real, and so forth, Google's going to put this message up there that says it looks like these results are changing quickly. It says if this topic is new, it can sometimes take time for reliable sources to publish information. Now, it basically goes through how to check, are they a trusted topic? And then it also says, maybe you should come back later. Basically one of those like signs in the store, come back later, we're not here yet. And that's basically what it's saying. Come back in a few hours for Google to figure out what's trusted. And finally, Google, and I think this is going live now, I could be wrong, in English US results as well. And then finally, Google expanded the more about this result feature. Here's a GIF of that in action, basically showing you more information about a certain snippet. Google launched that, I think, a year or so ago to give searchers a way to actually click on and say, what is this result? Surprised anybody uses it, but Google keeps investing in it. That being said, it is what it is. Google also announced that it expanded its use of MUM and BERT AI in search. Now, Google promised us to keep us posted around the MUM use cases. Right now, I think Google uses for COVID and some video-related features. Now, Google expanded that to help search detect personal crisis situations. So, like for keywords like, I don't know, domestic violence, substance abuse, suicide, sexual assault, and those types of keywords, Google's now able to find more variations of those types of personal crisis situations and then surface information like hotlines and more, ways to actually seek help directly from, professionals and organizations that deal with this, which is very, very, very important. Google actually started showing these hotlines, I believe, in 2010 and 2011, but now Google's expanding that to show it for more. And that's one new use case for MUM in Google search. Second, BERT is now being used to detect unexpected, shocking content. Google said this specifically comes up for content related to ethnicity, sexual orientation, and gender. And Google has basically said BERT has helped reduce unexpected shocking content by 30% over the past, several months. This goes above and beyond any safe search, adult filters, and so forth. And it's pretty interesting. So that's two new use cases for these two AI technologies that all of us SEOs are constantly talking about. You can't optimize for them, but Google uses them for improving search in those specific ways. Google also announced this week, related to Google Data Studio and Google Search Console, that now Google Data Studio could bring in Google News and Google Discover data through the Google Search Console Data Studio connector tool. Google actually had Google News and Google Discover data in Google Search Console for a while. Then a year or so ago released that data for the API, the Google Search Console API, and now it could be brought in easily to Google Data Studio reports. It's pretty cool. I actually did it myself. Daniel Weisberg from Google actually created a templated report, which is super useful. It's free for you to download and add, and it basically brings in that traffic. You can go ahead and now slice and dice your Discover traffic and Google News traffic directly in that report. And he also gives us tons of tips there, so definitely take a look at that blog post by Daniel. He is a analytics maven that happens to also work for Google, so hopefully the Google doesn't strike him. I'm just joking. All right, Google's structured data reporting got a lot better and more contextually descriptive in Google Search Console, specifically for the Google structured data error reports and rich results. Google said it's more contextually helpful with the names of the structured data error reporting. It shows more basically descriptive information, so you can actually go ahead and make better actions. Google explains that even if you haven't changed your structured data markup, all your open issues that refer to nested properties will automatically be closed, and you'll see new open issues with more context about what's missing. So keep that in mind. There will be some changes there, but they're useful changes, and it may go ahead and kind of mess up your error reporting in Google structured data reports in rich results and so forth, but they're all for the better in the long run, so that's good. Talking about Google Search Console destroyed, is getting rid of in the future, it's like a slow death, the URL parameter tool. The URL parameter tool was something Google launched back in, I think, 2011. Not sure. Yeah, 2009, sorry. They updated in 2011. And Google said, we're getting rid of it. It's kind of a little bit shocking because Google said a couple years ago, less than 2 years ago, that they're going to vastly improve it to make it better. And then all of a sudden, hey, it's going away. The reason I'm saying I'm not 100% shocked by it, because Google's multiple people at Google and a lot of SEOs were cautious about using it because it really hurt a lot of people. Because if you did it wrong, you did something wrong there, your site or sections of your website could be completely gone. So I'm not completely surprised by that, but it's going away on April 26th. Any rules you have in there will no longer be counted. It will just go away. And so you should definitely annotate that date. You should look to see what happens to your website if you are using that tool. Google says there's nothing for you to do. You could try to use the robots.txt file. You could try to improve your internal linking. But Google said it really wasn't used that much, maybe like 1% or something like that, although I'm not sure I could trust that data. Also, Google Search has launched a new trusted store badge. A couple weeks ago, we talked about the Google Shopping Experience Scorecard, which Google said if you scored well for customer service related experience around delivery times, return features, and so forth, Google will go ahead and give you some benefit. Google said they'll give you a ranking benefit, a new badge, and so forth. Well, Google just launched a trusted store badge for those merchants that score highly on those metrics. So here's a screenshot of that. Again, I don't think the ranking boost has happened, but that has happened at least. Google's visual stories, web stories, AMP stories, whatever you want to call them, are now ranking well for competitive keywords. Brody Clark spotted this. So he was ranking for SEO, for really related keywords, competitive keywords. He was ranking his web stories really high. So I'm sure SEOs are going to gleam on this, go ahead and really try to rank well for very competitive keywords for these visual stories. And then once we abuse it to death, it will go away. Google's John Mueller said that the no-follow attribute on links is not a dampening factor. It basically is if you put a no-follow link on that link, no-follow attribute on that link, it will not be counted. It's not dampening, it's just zero. So it doesn't work like a dampening factor. Although people don't believe him, and it's crazy how many people say, I don't believe that. Google says, John Mueller also said you should keep your redirected URLs in your sitemap files only temporarily. So some people have a strategy where if you move URLs, you'll go ahead and put those old URLs, which are redirected to the new URLs, in the sitemap file so Google could pick up on it. And they keep it there forever. You should remove them after a month or 2 or 3. Not more than 3 months, John Mueller said. Previously, he said 6 months, but now he's basically saying up to 3 months, do not keep those redirected URLs in there because you want your XML sitemap feed to be the canonical, the primary version of that URL and not to confuse Google. Google's John Mueller, this is kind of funny, and it is no joke. This is April Fool's, I know that, but this is not an April Fool's joke. John Mueller has given advice on Reddit on how to improve and increase your domain authority, a DA metric from Moz. Now, Google, he's been saying years and years, DA is not a real metric. You shouldn't use it for Google ranking purposes. It's not a metric Google uses. And he said all of that. But he said at the same time, I'm torn on giving advice on this because people use this for other means, for selling websites, for telling how authoritative a website is. And it's a Moz metric. It's not a Google metric, but here's some advice on how to improve it. And he actually did that. This is like a week before April Fool's, so it's not an April Fool's joke, but I reported about it on April Fool's just because of the timing. Google Search Results has launched a more visual design grid for certain types of queries, for like hand tattoos, game design studios, even for like watches and stuff like that. This is like grid format. Here's a screenshot of that. Google officially launched that last Friday. People have been seeing it for a while, but it's now officially live. And it's kind of weird. At the same time, Google's getting much more visual with their search results, and they continue to do that trend going forward. So hopefully you like it. If not, maybe Google will get rid of it over time. Google has extended the test for expandable tabs in the search results snippets. Google's done this numerous times in 2011, tested this multiple times. I wrote about it at least twice before, but I had to write it again because everybody's seeing it. I asked Google if this is rolling out. Google said they'll look into it, but they never got back to me. So I'm not sure if it is rolling out. I personally don't see it yet, so I think it's just a more expanded test. And here's a screenshot again of that. Google is testing image search packs with loads the image on the right side of the web search results. So usually the image pack in the web search results, you click on an image, it will take you right into Google image search. This is not doing that. It's actually keeping you in web search and loading it on the right-hand side, which is pretty cool. Google's also launching a Google audio feature for the knowledge panel in certain regions. So if you have specifically in India and you want to listen to it in multiple languages, you can actually listen to the audio version of the knowledge panel description in your language. Even if it's written in English, it will speak it to you in your language. I'm not sure how many regions this is live in, but it's definitely live in some. Bing has launched round category icons to explore more images. Here's a screenshot of that. And Bing also has launched an interactive Wikipedia box, which really promotes Wikipedia in their search results. Here's a screenshot of that as well. And finally, Google AdSense has launched anchor ads on AMP sites that have auto ads enabled. Beforehand, those that have auto ads enabled did not have anchor ads for AMP sites. Now it does. Not sure who's going to be adding that. It's automatic. You don't have to do anything if you have it enabled, and that will happen automatically by itself. Any event, thank you so much for listening to the Search Buzz video recap. Sorry, this went a little bit longer than usual. There was a lot of news early on to discuss in terms of detail. And of course, again, don't forget to check out Marketing O'Clock. I was on their YouTube channel, had a lot of fun there, and subscribe to them. And also, of course, thanks to Bruce Clay. Check them out at SEOtraining.com and at bruceclay.com. Thank you so much for sponsoring. Everybody have a safe, healthy, and fun, relaxing weekend. See you guys later. Bye-bye.